Welcome to the second part of Ghost Hunt, with me, Paul Goddard. Last night we heard tales of unexplained happenings from ordinary people and experiences from mediums Sue and John Geis. It is in this programme that I take this couple and Adrian Lister, a non-medium, to the Ram Inn at Wotton-under-Edge to see what they can sense in this curious building. The Ram Inn is believed to have been built in 1145. It is a beautiful Grade 2 star listed building that was bought by the present owner John Humphreys in 1968. A few years prior to this, it pulled its last pint. We start the investigation in the Beaufort room.
This is the Beaufort room. There's an old woman appears and floats across here and out through into the next bedroom. There's a little girl appears over there who waves to passers-by. She was a crippled girl in here. And there's another ghost by the fireplace. I don't know who that is, but there's one that's supposed to stand there.
Sue, I believe you have quite a strong feeling in this room.
Yeah, I'd like to tell you all you men to get out. Quite strongly. I feel the energy around my face of spirit drawing close to me. I don't feel a hostile presence to me, but I do to you. I feel that the lady here, though she has been called a witch, was just not very kindly treated, and that is why she gives that hostility.
I think this is the strongest energy within the building so far for me, and I do feel as if I'm totally unwanted here and there is aggression here towards me or towards others in this room.
Adrian, I do believe you feel something in here as well.
When I walked into this room, I felt a very immediate presence, which I feel on quite viscerally, quite internally, like a sort of gripping around the abdomen or the stomach. I'm quite at a loss to explain it.
So this is the bishop's room, so what actually happens?
Oh, there's a hell of a lot happens in here. There's so much going on in this room, it's almost incredible. Even now, this room scares the pants off me. Hardly anybody can spend a night in here. When I've done accommodation, people have actually fled from here. They book in for a week, but after one night they're gone. In front of the fireplace, sometimes one, sometimes two monks appear, walk through the wall where there's a blocked up priest hole. A cavalier appears and walks across the room. A lady who was strangled here, a shepherd and his dog. That's rather a lot for one room.
When we came through the door, there's a great energy in here again, a great awareness. There was as if we had to ask to come in and respect the people who were here, which we did do. I felt a presence sitting in the chair over there very, very strongly, and there are others in the room. I do feel as if we've been accepted into this room. I don't feel threatened or anything as I did in the other rooms.
I feel a lot of spirit activity. I'm aware of somebody sitting in the chair near to the fire. It's a man sitting there actually with a moustache which is curled up at the sides. A bit of a wicked smile, but I don't really feel he's bad. I'm aware of a lady in the opposite corner by the window in very dark coloured clothing, an older lady. I am getting the impression of a man of the cloth, but it's going back many years, so more like a monk, I would say.
Adrian, we're up in the top attic now with all these interesting beams. You actually have quite a strong experience coming from the room opposite.
Well, I had, which I'm almost embarrassed to admit, a very powerful image, almost a visual image, when I walked into the attic space of weavers and also of women weavers, and I can picture it very, very strongly.
Linking in clairaudiently, where it just means clear hearing, I could hear women singing, laughing, chatting away, really happy about their work and really happy to just be here and be doing what they love doing, which was their weaving.
During our tour of the house, we all noticed a bizarre cold spot. I'll let you listen to the recording made by Adrian Lister at the time, describing the phenomena and his feelings about it.
This room has a very, very cold heart off to the west side of it. It's supposed to be a grave over in the corner. It's not the grave itself that's cold. There's a very, very cold area just here. There's a feeling of, there's not a draft, because it's not a draft. Extraordinary, quite extraordinary. There's a very, very cold area of the room which is quite well defined, and within that area of the room it's almost as if one's walking through cold water, and then you can move out of it and move into it.
As you heard, all members of the group felt something about the house. However, I have to report that apart from the cold spot, I felt nothing. I decided to take Sue to Woodchester Mansion. This time, apart from the location, I gave her no prior information about the history or what had been picked up by other mediums. During this walk around, I was surprised that all 4 of my fresh, expensive batteries completely drained within 10 minutes, which averaged out at 2.5 minutes per battery. This has never happened before or since.
No, I can only say what I'm getting because I'm questioning. I'm thinking this is common sense, but this was somebody's dream. This was somebody's dream home, and I don't know what happened and why it wasn't finished because I don't know anything about it. But lady in particular is still here from that original time. Draws close. She gets very emotional. She makes you feel very emotional in a sad way, not in a happy way. There's a gentleman that stands with her. Not exactly hard-nosed businessman, but that's sort of feel about him, and she's much more gentle and soft, and I feel as if something hit somebody. I feel as if I could be like struck in the chest or the abdomen here.
Actually, strange you said that, I actually felt something just there.
As we walked through from the front door there, I feel very much almost like I've been winded, but it would have been much more than that. It would have been quite a severe blow.
One bizarre thing, put this battery, it's fresh battery out the packet just now, and it's gone to under half already.
Which can happen. I really heard the words "don't come here" quite clearly, so for me I just need to send the thought out, well, I actually don't mean any harm. I'm just trying to piece together a story or piece together what's happened. It was definitely catastrophe here. I feel some light pressure around my throat as well. So someone would have spent time walking up and down here quite a lot. They're keeping watch.
It's about to go, this battery.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not gone through at all. Okay, this lady, I got very much, she's sort of dressed in grey, lighter grey rather than a darker grey. And she has something white round her head here that she would have worn. So I'm not very good at times in history. But she's a very gentle lady actually, she's nice. I keep getting this heady feeling. But it's not just in this room, I had it in the other room, which means it'll be from an energy that's following us around, if you like, which is fine. It's fine.
Have you got any idea what the energy might be yet?
I feel a male energy with this, actually. Now you see here, I get like a feeling of children running around. As I go around, I keep feeling this like choking feeling. We're in the cellar, and as we came down the stairs and I stopped sort of midway down, it was because I'd seen a gentleman there of stocky build, with a beard, with hair, obviously not very well kept. It would have been more of a servant ilk than of more of the gentry. This gentleman, as we've been walking through, and as we reassured him, he likes it because when we're making him famous here, he's laughing at me. But it's just that he made it evident that he'd passed because he'd been hit on the head, I felt, by a missile thrown at him, a rock. And then happy to show us round. And although, as I say, cellars, you would have thought, I don't like going down into the cellars, it actually feels quite nice here. There's many secrets here, there's many things that went on here that the people would have known about but nobody spoke about, so it's to do with the manor. It's almost like a gathering place for more of the servants sort of ilk would come here now, even because there's many spirits within the house, as we know. But I don't feel that this gentleman particularly, he's not nasty, he's lovely actually. And quite a character, very strong character, happy, would go on around whistling and singing.
On another day, later in the week, I returned to Woodchester Mansion to interview Wendy Milner, who does administration for the Trust, and Robin Cole, who is a regular visitor and helper. They told me of the history of the place and their strange experiences in Woodchester Mansion.
From what I understand of Woodchester Mansion is that the actual site goes back to 2,000 or 3,000 years, and that around the area there are Neolithic long barrows.
The building was started in the mid-1860s, and work went on here for about 15 years, and when it was suddenly abandoned, and it's a beautiful Victorian Gothic mansion. We know for a fact that the builders downed tools and walked out because they left their tools here, but we also know that the commissioner of the building, William Lee, became very ill and ran out of money because he had other building projects going on in the area. They just decided to leave it for the time being, and it became an abandoned building because nobody could do anything with it. It was going to be too expensive to pull down and too expensive to rebuild.
There are, however, more ominous reasons or stories, and those are basically that there was a couple of murders on the site, and the workmen at the time just simply downed their tools and walked off the site, not wanting to come back here. There are rumours that when the American soldiers were based here at Woodchester, that they used the lakes for different exercises. As the story is, they were building a pontoon bridge across there, and whilst one of the vehicles was crossing this pontoon bridge, it collapsed, and I believe 5 or 6 soldiers who were in the vehicle at the time drowned in the lake.
There was one night when I was walking down the corridor and I had a distinctive tug on the back of my head. I have the hair in a ponytail, and it was definitely a tug. I hadn't caught my hair on a coat or anything like that, and it did freak me out a bit. I had goosebumps and a strange feeling, and it didn't leave me until I got out of the building. And also 2 girls who were also here at the same time had exactly the same phenomenon. If they are ghosts, or if it's some kind of time print from the past, it could have been from the Georgian house, which used to be on the same site. We know there was quite a large established family called the Deuces that lived here.
On the 2 occasions that I've been fortunate to stay here overnight, there have been ominous feelings. And we did set up a video recorder in the basement, and I spent half an hour down there on my own, and I did feel some very strange brushes against my skin, and when we played the tape back there was actually murmuring on the tape as well, which I hadn't noticed whilst I was down there. Again, we had set a video camera up on that corridor and left it to run for 3/4 of an hour, went back and fetched it. At the time, again, didn't notice anything unusual until the tape was played back, and we picked up the voices of children playing along the corridor, and at one point something seems to come along and flick on the side of the video camera quite purposefully. I tried to convince myself that it was young children walking past outside, maybe with a family for a late night ramble or something. But bearing in mind that this was 2 o'clock in the morning, I would have thought it highly unlikely.
During these interviews, I asked them what things mediums had picked up on when visiting Woodchester Mansion.
Mostly they get a lady wandering on the corridors above.
Lady in particular is still here from that original time.
And children running about in the lower area.
Now you see here, I get like a feeling of children running around.
A boy and a girl mostly. Most of them pick up something in the cellar, and it doesn't seem quite right.
You would have thought, like going down into the cellars, it actually feels quite nice here.
We've had them talk of Romans and American soldiers.
Sue also picked up on American soldiers, and that a bishop had stayed in the building. Unfortunately, all battery power had died by this point, so it wasn't recorded. Mysterious events usually happen when you least expect them. After my interview at the mansion, my dad, who was admiring the building from the outside, noticed this.
I was stood at the back of the house looking over the roof, and there was a strange noise, sounded like a plane or gush of wind, and then I saw this parachute just drop out the sky, and I didn't take any notice for a second. I realised it was a round parachute like they used in the Second World War. It just came there very quickly and disappeared. So I don't know what actually it was, but it definitely was a parachute.
Not all the unexplained remain so. One possible answer is that gliders who use the area drop a small parachute along with their anchors from the tow-in plane. Could this have been what he saw? Although he was sure that there was a person on the end of the chute, we may never know.
I thought it was a toy parachute, but nobody's going to throw a toy parachute at that far.
Tune in tomorrow night, where I attempt a ghost vigil with the Myers Paranormal Society down in the cellars of Cafe Rene, Gloucester.
What the hell's that?
Plus, Lynn Sindri tells us her experience of the vigil at Caesar's nightclub in London. And did she capture on tape the ghostly voice of Ruth Ellis, the last woman to be hanged in this country? Here's Lynn's initial reaction to that encounter.
Oh, fight me to bloody death, eh?
Make your own mind up tomorrow night.